15 seconds early. No, you're early. You're on time. How are you today? Excellent. How about y'all? Other than this cold weather, we're fine. Well, are we ready? Good. We're kind of short agenda tonight, so maybe I can get over to the ball game tonight, I think. Well, I guess I'm gonna disable it. We know that if I don't, we're gonna have none. We don't mind. We know what's gonna happen. Yeah, I can't even disable it. All right, let's call this meeting to order and welcome each and everyone here. This is our business meeting, and as usual, I always like to start with prayer, and then we'll get started into our business with prayer. Father God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for life, health, and strength. Father, we thank you for everything that you've done for us and everything that you're willing to do. Father, we ask that you bless us, these men and women that have come to try to do the county's business. Father, not only these, but bless everybody in this entire world. And our Father, will be so honored to give you all the praise and glory. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Last forward to everybody, I think, got the minutes of the December 3rd and December 17th meeting. And I would ask for a motion to approve.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve.
A motion to approve. Okay. Second by Cynthia. Any comments or questions? All right, Bruce.
Yeah.
Yes.
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 The minutes for December 3rd, December 17th are approved. All right, we'll go into our new business and we'll turn it over to Ms. Fisher.
Okay. First up, we've got the discussion/consideration for Serenity Cove subdivision for preliminary plat approval for Adam Swan. So as you'll recall, the property was rezoned in January of last year to rezone 43.02 acres to R3 to develop a 36-lot retirement community subdivision, but it actually will only have 31 lots. It was approved with the following conditions. Exterior building material must be brick, stone, cement, wood siding, board, and batten, and architectural shingles. Minimum of 1,600 square feet home size. All exterior and interior doors must meet ADA wheelchair compliance. All homes are to have attached closed garages. All parcels should be sod installed in front of the homes. Fire hydrant installation every 500 feet. Sidewalks are to be continued to main entrance. So back in December, our staff reviewed his preliminary plat and stormwater management concept plan and found both satisfying all the requirements of the checklist. The health department submitted a letter of approval for the preliminary plat, and the industrial authority submitted a water letter verifying that they would be providing water for the development.
Okay. Any questions or comments or anything that you need to know before you move on this preliminary plat?
Yes, Mr. Patrick. What would be a timeline for the next step in this procedure?
Well, whenever the preliminary plat has been approved, by the VOC at that level, he will have a year to get in the final plat.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I have a question. Are there any common areas associated with this other than the lot that's showing the retention pond?
So we had thought about putting, so the small detention pond there was gonna be a common area, but with having to cross the gas line, do I need to state my name and address?
Sure.
Adam Swan, 1041 Founders Lake Drive, Athens, Georgia. But with having to cross the gas line easement with a stormwater drain pipe, we felt like it was gonna run into problems there depending on how deep that gas line is. And so we added another stormwater pond right there to catch the stormwater from, I guess you'd say, the south half of the neighborhood. So you can see we've got the mail kiosk there, and we're planning to determine what area on one of these lots we can have. That'll be common space that'll be maintained by the homeowner association. But seeing if we can add a walking trail through there, but that would be the common area that's around those stormwater pond lots.
Okay. And when you say homeowners association, will they actually own that parcel?
Yes, sir.
It'll be deeded to the homeowners association?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay. You're responsible for the maintenance and all that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. One other question I had was, since you mentioned gas easement, I was particularly interested in lot number 24 because that gas easement goes right through the middle of it.
Yes, sir.
Can you brief us on, I guess I'm a little questionable on a house and a septic system when you've got the gas easement going right through the middle of it. And I wouldn't worry about it except that is one of the 31 lots.
Oh, yes, sir, I understand. And that was
Lot
something.
adjustment or whatever, if it can be done.
Yes, sir.
Tell me how this.
So we discussed that in the planning when we got it, and it's been revised a few times, but in talking with Kelly Henson with Environmental Health, we have to get a letter of permission with the pipeline company for the road crossings. And at the same time, what we'll do there is have the house on the front corner, and we'll have to get a letter of permission to cross the pipeline and pump the septic system up into that, if you're looking at it from the road, the far right corner. And so that'll require a letter of permission for the pipeline company. It'll be hard piped, pumped through there. And so
it can be done as long as it's coordinated with the pipeline?
Yes, sir, that's correct. And in fact, my surveyor is supposed to be out there this week staking that gas pipeline where the road crossings are and all. And then I'll meet with the pipeline company out there and we'll start that letter of permission procedure. But I just wanted to make sure everything went well tonight and then the 26th or 27th for the Board of Commissioners before we start that process.
The preliminary plat process is a preliminary plat. What happens if that negotiation doesn't go well?
Well,
Let's say the pipeline says no.
It's not really a negotiation. We meet with them, and at that point, when we meet them on site where the surveyors stake that, they'll probe to determine the depth of the pipeline. And then from there, we have to be, I think it's 3 feet above them with anything, so the road would have to be built up to make sure that we've got 3 foot of separation with the pipe. And any, water line, or, of course, we avoided storm sewer. No, we got storm sewer going through on the upper end, but we've got to remain a certain distance there as well. So at that point, we'll know the depth of the gas pipeline and be able to make sure that we meet the requirements. And Colonial Pipeline will actually be out there as well, when construction's being done over that easement. So it's just a process with them, getting those letter of permissions.
Is there a reason that this 31, because of the pipeline and all this, can't be common area? You have to have 31, or is that,
You're talking about just 31 lots?
yeah, no, the 31, the lot 30, the one.
Lot 31.
Lot 31.
Lot 31 or lot 24?
The one, the one.
One is going
pipeline-
through, that's 24.
24.
Well, there's,
Also 31.
yeah, it goes through the edge of 31, but
Yeah, it
31.
goes right through the center of 24. I think that's
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
So what is your question? Why don't I put it in a common space?
I mean, you know.
Because I lose a lot and still add infrastructure.
Because what?
I lose a
Well, I
lot and I'm building
understand that.
infrastructure. So
Okay, I understand that.
it's just,
I think your original wish was having 36, and it's been trimmed back to 31 already, right?
yes, sir. And and typically when we do those initial studies, you know, we don't go full bore into the studies when we come in with a site plan for the rezoning meeting. And it almost always gets reduced down in lots once you do the environmental studies and everything that's required and get the review from environmental health, so. And then the engineer designs it so that we can meet the stormwater requirements and everything. So with all that in place, then you can nail down what your actual lot yield's gonna be.
What's your actual lot sizes on lot of these?
We got on the usable soil chart, we give you the lot area. So the minimum is three quarters of an acre, which is 32,670 square feet. Or 32,760.
You got anybody going?
I'm sorry.
So these were mostly ranches, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
One question that I had that the office helped me with was the road frontage.
Yes, sir.
The road frontage is actually 143 feet, but only 100 is required, because you've got public water.
Well, and environmental health now, if you've got a septic lot, they require 100 foot of usable soil width on that lot at building line setback. So, even in the event, like, because we got some counties where you can get a smaller frontage for the lot, but environmental health trumps that for the 100 foot lot.
You're talking about lot frontage, I was talking about road frontage on the Norwood.
Oh, I got you. Okay, yes, sir.
That is the only road frontage for the entire complex is on Norwood.
That's correct. It touches Sanford Road, but there's nothing that can be done there.
Nothing. All right, any further questions or comments on? Now, I do believe that in our last meeting, we talked about you have an opportunity to vote on this tonight. And we'll vote on you have an opportunity to look at it and vote on it at our next meeting, so, it's up, at your pleasure. Want to vote on approval tonight, or want to delay it? Or you can have more study on it, or it's up to you. Because we want this, if it is approved, we want to move it on to the Board of Commissioners at that last meeting of the month,
It's the 27th.
the 27th. And our meeting is the 21st.
Mm-hmm.
So we can do it tonight, or we can wait until the 21st.
I make a motion to 20,
Hmm?
since we just got it, looking at it.
We got one here that says he's ready.
No.
Another one says, let's table it, so,
Doesn't matter to me, we're just letting you know what we're.
Okay.
As long as we're not, unduly, delaying the process. So, it doesn't make any difference either day. Okay.
Is it gonna delay the process? Cause I make a motion that we table it to the 21st so we can look over it. Cause I have something I wanna really find out about.
We have a motion on the floor.
That was the purpose, of you getting it to us ahead of time.
It was, yes, sir, I got it in December.
Motion on the floor, I get a second? Hearing none. Okay. So we're ready to vote on it tonight then. The motion fails.
Right, you ready for another motion?
Okay.
Next motion to approve.
I'll second.
Well, motion, to approve and to approve the preliminary plat. Have a second?
We don't need to restate the conditions, all that's done.
No, that's done. Any, questions or comments? All right, Cynthia.
Well, I have a question about something I would want to get further detailed information on our responsibility for it, but I will consider to get that later. So, I vote yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Preliminary plat is approved, and we'll move it on to the board of commissioners.
Thank y'all for your time.
Thank you, Adam.
All right, discussion on zoning applications for January 21st, 25, public hearings. Tracy.
Okay, Bert Rodriguez, applicant for Freddie Godoy Acevedo, is requesting to rezone his 5 acres from A2 to R1 to split the property into 3 equal tracts containing approximately 1.66 acres each to sell. Property is located at 1822 Shoal Creek Road in Calvert on map 59, parcel 96J in District 5. So, Mr. Azevedo purchased the property at the end of October as a business venture. And as I said, he is wanting to split the 5 acres into 3 tracts. One tract has an existing double wide on it, and the other 2 tracts will be vacant. All tracts will have ample road frontage because it's on the corner of 2 roads. It is consistent with the comp plan. The R1 is consistent with the comp plan in this particular case. It's in the South Madison character area where residential development is encouraged. And there are multiple R1 zone properties in the surrounding area.
Did you say he originally purchased it for business?
Mm-hmm. He purchased it for a business venture, just to, as a money-making thing, to split it up to sell.
Oh, okay. Okay, I thought you was saying that he was trying to put a business there.
No, sorry.
Okay. Any questions on this one? All right. Number 2.
All right, Reuben Borza is requesting to rezone a 12-acre portion of his 83.80 acres from A1 to AR to allow it to be split into 3 4-acre tracts. The remaining 71.80 acres will remain in the A1 zone. Property is located at 0 Highway 98 West in Danielsville on map 11, parcel 94-04 in District 1. So again, he's just wanting to rezone only a 12-acre portion to AR to allow those 3 4-acre splits. It is located actually in the corner of Highway 98 and McGee Fitzpatrick Road. The splits will be accessed off McGee Fitzpatrick Road. There is ample road frontage for each tract. And just as a brief note, he did rezone in 2021 to get 3 other splits from this property. The plat was recorded in December of 21, so the 3-year waiting period is now over, and he is now wanting to do it again. He does not live on the property, nor has he ever. The AR is consistent with the comp plan, and believe it or not, it's not in the CUVAs with having that much acreage, so there wouldn't be a breach there.
Questions? Pretty clear.
My only, I understand these are 4-acre lots, ARs are appropriate in the area. My concern is, 3 years ago, there were 3 lots cut. Now there's 3 more lots cut. So obviously he's making a subdivision out of this in 3-year increments.
I do see a pattern there.
Yeah, that's my concern about this. And I did a little research, if it makes any difference. I know that we have approved things, or at least the BOC has approved some of these, especially if the landowner is going to live on the property, one of the lots. And when this was done back in 2021, the intent was the back side, the one on the far end down there, that it was supposed to be his home site. I've got the minutes showing that. It's supposed to be his home site. Well, he does not live there. If that makes any difference with anybody, I just wanted to throw this out.
Now, the rules say 3 years,
Yeah.
so he's not breaking any kind of rules.
No. That's where I'm at.
But if he has so many homes, he can only put so many homes on a road, right?
There's nothing that says you can't.
Well, I mean, if,
It's
I
public
mean-
road, if he can put, line them up down there, front road, there, not road front, but if it's private drive there, he could put so many homes.
but what I'm saying, so this is a public road, and you're saying it looks like it's turning into a subdivision. Is that
But not a major subdivision as it's defined by the
Right.
county ordinance.
Right.
Correct.
And if he comes back another 3 years and does another 3, he still, how can we define it as a subdivision and go under the subdivision rule if it's on a private road?
Well,
They
it
can't-
wouldn't apply to this
I
application,
mean,
but if
public
you
road.
want to amend if the Board of Commissioners wants to amend the subdivision regulations to define major subdivision differently, it can do that, but this application's already in, so that wouldn't matter for this one.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying if he comes back 3 years, because we're seeing.
Well, something, in my opinion, something has to change. Don't you'll be in the same situation we're in now, because I don't see any legal reason that you can say no to it, unless they change their wording in their subdivision regulations.
Well, that's what I'm saying, if we see a pattern and it's on a public road, there's nothing that we can really, because we don't see a subdivision, I mean, he's not really making a subdivision, right?
Correct, not as defined by
Yeah.
current ordinance.
So all we can do is to point out to the Board of Commissioners, hey, this seems to be a pattern, and we can recommend that, hey, you need to change, or point that out, maybe you need to change the regulations. But I personally don't see any way that we can say no. Although we understand, we can see it, I mean,
It seems
it's
to be.
pretty obvious.
It seems to be a pattern coming along, but you can't say that there's a pattern coming
No.
along.
See, if we allow him to do this, then 3 more years, allow him to put 3 more homes on there. Then 3 more years after that, he can wind up with 17 more homes on that 83, or 71
It
acre
was,
lot.
and it's unusual that it has so much road frontage that he could pretty much do that.
But that's going back to the Board of
Separate days
Commissioners.
from what might happen 3 years from now. You do have a new zoning ordinance come in the works that may be in effect, hopefully before 3 years have passed. It would govern whatever happens then.
But it's a public road, so how can we define it as a second?
At this point, you can't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but later on, because.
We have to,
That's
Yeah.
I mean, at the same time, I mean, these are 4 acre tracts, we're not talking about 3/4 acre lots here, I mean, as far as the subdivision goes, that in and of itself is a little different as well, these are 4 acre tracts.
Maybe I shouldn't have called it subdivision.
Would you please, use your word choice,
He's
please.
just cutting it up into multiple lots.
All right.
If that's a concern.
Okay,
Private
that's-
property, opportunity to own and do with it as he sees fit. He's playing by the rules that we have written.
No, that only applies if it's your property. Everybody else has to make a green space for your benefit.
Where am I?
I've been here 25 years, you're in Madison County.
Okay, any further comments or questions on this one? All right, number, and Lee, he comes in here, ask it.
Okay.
Number 3.
Okay, Attorney Victor Johnson is representing, as applicant for Ken Mealer and Pam Lovett. And, he is requesting to rezone a 1.60 acre portion with an existing rental home of their 77.03 acres from A1 to R1 to allow it to be split, and the remaining 75.43 acres will remain in the A1 zone and allow it to become eligible for the Conservation Use Program for tax purposes. The property is located at 3661 Diamond Hill Colbert Road in Hull on map 44, parcel 65 in District 5. So what's happened is Ken and Pam both inherited and co-own 77.03 acres, but neither of them resides on the property. The property is currently not in Cuba because it has always had a rental home that they've rented out for years. And by having that rental home, it makes them ineligible for the Cuba program. So their sole decision in doing that is just want to cut out that rental house, get it out on its own track, and then put the remaining in Cuba. R1 is consistent with the comp plan as it falls in the South Madison character area, which encourages residential growth. Property also borders Madison Hill subdivision, which is also zoned R1.
Questions, comments? Okay. 4.
Aaron Connolly, applicant and attorney for Christopher Beck, is requesting a conditional use to allow a 286-foot telecommunications tower to be placed on the property. Property is located at 0 West Street in Carlton on map 106, parcel 17 in District 4. So, of course, cell towers are allowed in the A1 zone as a conditional use. This will be a freestanding, self-supporting tower. The setbacks from all property lines must be the height of the tower. So they have to be 286 feet from all property lines, and they can achieve this. This tower will not require additional landscaping as the property is heavily wooded and is preferred to use as natural vegetation. So they won't have to do all the trees and shrubbery because that natural vegetation is there as long as it's healthy. There is a 100 by 100 leased area. There will be a fence, an access gate, and this is actually just outside of the city limits of Carlton.
I've been seeing where they had opposition to it. I think it's come on Facebook, there's opposition.
Oh, really? I hadn't heard him yet.
Yeah, bear in mind if people show up, so this is considered a quasi judicial or administrative decision, rather than a legislative decision, which means there's a higher burden of proof. It's also governed by lots of laws and regulations under the Federal Telecommunications Act. So if there's any idea of turning this down, staff would have to do, and I with them would have to do a lot of work to have this in a defensible position to deny. If it could even be put in a defensible position to deny.
It sounds like all the setbacks and everything can be met, so
Right. Yeah, I don't know, I don't see anything here that says there's a basis for denying, but.
other than I just don't.
Yeah, just don't want to, I want to say that now and not 2 weeks from now.
Those 2 hours.
Dennis, do you have any idea what the opposition this is? I mean, I'm looking at the site plan, it's out in the middle of the woods, you don't have no neighbors.
I just looked at it one time and just went on by, when I seen it on Facebook, I said, they just don't want it in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and the citizens against virtually everything.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
It'd be all right if it's on mine, but put it on somebody else,
Yes,
like
sir.
said.
Exactly.
Also, it's my property, and I'm getting the financial. All right,
I know that, this can go on an A1 or an A2. This is a non-conforming A1. This does not have to be conforming.
Mm-hmm. Not so long as it can meet the setbacks required, which staff determined it could.
Mhm.
it's a legally non-conforming, correct?
Right.
Legally.
Correct, yes, sir.
All right. Number 5.
Debbie Wood, applicant for Joseph and Mary Thompson Estate, is requesting to rezone a 4-acre portion of the 53.54 acres from A1 to AR to allow it to be split for inheritance purposes. The remaining acreage will remain in the A1 zone. The property is located at 715 Hudson Rivers Church Road in Danielsville on map 24, parcel 44 in District 1. So the purpose of the rezone is for her to settle her late parents' estate. Both passed in 24. So it's just she and her sister that are the heirs of the property. And Ms. Wood is actually getting 4 acres with an existing home for her inheritance, and she is gifting it to her granddaughter to live in. Her sister is getting the remaining 49.54 acres, and this is a vacant tract, but will continue to be used for ag purposes as it is today. The property is in the CUVA program, but this will not create a breach to the contract.
Comments? Questions? All right, number 6.
Okay. Hazel Hart, applicant for Julie Hart, is requesting to rezone her 8.53 acres from A1 to AR to allow the property to be split into 2 equal tracts of approximately 4.26 acres each, and to bring the property into compliance with zoning regulations. Property is located at 2587 Means Grove Church Road in Culver on map 42, parcel 1302 in District 3. So if you'll remember, last month, Ms. Hart had submitted a dual rezone for this same property, requesting a 1.5 acre portion to be rezoned to R1 and the remaining acreage to AR, as she was going to sell the 1.5 acre portion and keep the rest. But the Planning and Zoning Board rendered a denial vote because the R1 is inconsistent with the comp plan, and it would be considered spot zoning. So she withdrew the application before it went to the VOC because she felt that they would also deny it. So this new request, she's wanting to just split it down the middle, two 4+ acre tracts. She plans to sell the tract with the existing home, and she's gonna retain the other vacant tract. Both tracts will have ample road frontage, and if approved, it would bring the property in compliance.
Questions, comments? Okay. I think that's, the end of our discussion on the planning and zoning applications, but I do have something that I want to, present to the board tonight and talk to you about and get your opinion on it and see what, you think of my thoughts. First of all, let me talk about the, commission meeting last night. Everything was approved except for one. The one that was turned down was the, request of the gentleman that did not show at either public hearing. Didn't show for our public hearing, and did not show for the public hearing last night. They felt like if he wasn't interested enough to not show up to either public hearing, that it should be denied, so that was denied. Yes.
Before you, after you, there's just a question I have about the one that, about the plat. If I can ask that after you.
Okay.
Mention it.
That'll be fine, okay. As you all know, that there has been much discussion over the past couple of years of restructuring the Planning and Zoning Commission of a 7-member board. It was brought up, it was actually discussed by the Board of Commissioners. There was some pushback because of the way it was presented and the thing that was gonna happen. That there were some members that had to be removed and to restructure it. I was opposed to it at that time. I thought it was not proper to do it the way they wanted to do it, but I've been in discussion with the chairman, several commissioners, and Mr. Pruitt, and I believe that now is the perfect time to restructure it. Simply because we have lost a member. We're now down to 6. And I believe moving forward that this is the right time to do it. My proposal is to bring the P&Z board to mirror the commissioners. Have 5-member board, a chairman. The chairman would not have a vote unless someone was absent and there's a tie. Then the chairman would have a vote. Now, in the past, we had a person that was in actually lived in District 5, was representing District 3 because they didn't have anybody, okay? My proposal would be to eliminate the one that would be eliminated would be the one that is appointed by the P&Z. But that person, who is Cynthia, is here now, would serve out her term, which ends in December of 26, as the District 3 representative. At that point, then there would be an appointment. Cynthia could be reappointed, or they can appoint whoever they want to, just like they can
You
with
live in District 3, right?
No, she's in District 5.
Oh, you're in 5.
She's in 5, but there was no difference than Stephanie being living in 5
Right.
and representing 3.
Yeah, what it says is at the end of the term, and this would be something else we had talked about changing. Right now, it says when there's a vacancy that that commissioner has 60 days to appoint someone from his district.
Right.
If he doesn't, then it goes to the full board to nominate somebody from any district anywhere in the county.
Correct.
And that's how Stephanie ended up doing it, I think.
Right, that's how Stephanie ended up doing it.
Yeah.
But, anyway, that is kind of my proposal. I'd like to, and the reason I'm bringing it to you all, is that, like I told Todd, I want a whole buy-in. I want this board to be comfortable with it. I want the commissioners to be comfortable with it, and then I think the public would be comfortable if there's a buy-in. You know, the last time it was not a buy-in. But I think now is the perfect time to do it, and I'd like to hear your comments. And if you agree, I would like to actually take a vote and for the P&Z to present it to the Board of Commissioners for that consideration. So, that's my spiel. Now, floor's open. Talk to me.
You saying a buy-in, what do you mean by buy-in?
Agree to it.
An agreement.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm talking about, buy-in, agreement.
I like
You have to pay money.
I like it, I would be curious for somebody that's been here a whole lot longer than I. When this commission was first started, was it with what we're talking about, and then these other positions were added for some reason?
Now, I remember, I think it was mid-2000s, there was an amendment that created it as it exists now. But you've been here from the beginning, Mr. Scott.
No, I have not.
Well, no, but you were part of drawing up the zoning ordinance and the planning commission bylaws.
Oh, way back when?
Way back when.
Way back when, back in the
Yes.
90s, yes.
Exactly, and that's what so I know how it got changed in the mid-2000s. I don't remember what it said before that, and I was wondering if you might.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I have no idea how it got changed.
Well, I might be able to find it.
I just wondered if there was a good reason to add positions along the way, if that's what happened.
Well, my concern is, and not saying anything against anything, but that it represents the county too. That, you know, from the past is, and please do not take this personally. It was, in the past, there was a lot of farmers. So, you know you're gonna have a lot of things geared towards farmers. So my concern is that can we have a board that represents residents and farmers where both are being considered of what should be in this county and what should not be in this county, or how the, you know, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. It was 7 from the beginning. I found the 1994 one.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was, essentially the composition, do we know that, was it the 5 districts, a chairman?
It was, yeah, each of the 5 districts has one appointment, the board chairman and the planning and zoning commission shall each have one appointment from the county at large. So, it's always been that. The 2007 amendment was to, change or clarify how how people are nominated. The board of commissioners approves it, and to put in the 60 days thing, because they were running into, there would be a vacancy for 6 months, and they just couldn't get anybody from that district to serve.
Now, to address Cynthia's point, Cynthia, I don't think that's gonna change. It depends on who's sitting here at the Board of Commissioners as to who they appoint. What their thinking is, I don't know. They may appoint all farmers or whatever. They may not even want a diverse group, But that's gonna be up to them. I don't think that's gonna change regardless of whether you have 5 or 7.
Really, 6 or 7.
Or 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna change.
Mm-hmm.
No, I know, I'm just saying.
Well, I like the idea, for just the clarity of it, mirroring the Board of Commissioners structure makes sense to me. Reducing government wherever you can makes sense to me. This is one less position. If we go down to 6, I don't think we lose anything particularly by that. There is the fact that I guess it's a board, once it sits, picks out somebody to be at large. They do that with some sort of an idea that they want someone that has an expertise or a representation of a wider area. But I don't, I'd be I mean, I like the idea of 6.
We know who would appoint each of the 5 districts, who would appoint the chairman? The chairman.
Nobody
Well,
would
the
appoint
chairman,
Chairman would be voted on as is now.
Right.
But the 5 commissioners would have an appointee, and the chairman of the board of commissioners would have an appointee. And then this board would choose their own chairperson and vice chair.
Right.
But we would nominate the person as well. Or would the nomination come from somewhere else?
For
No.
chairman?
Chairman.
So
No,
it'll be done just as you do it now,
Like you do now.
just as you do it now.
I think you are Todd's, I mean, it's just coincidence that you happen to be.
I happen to be Todd's nominee.
Yeah, but that's just coincidence.
That's just coincidence. That didn't have anything to do with it. And when I came on, I was not chair.
Right.
Kenneth, what do you think?
It really won't change really nothing, but we just a recommended body only. If we got 5 or 6 or 7, it really don't change what the Board of Commissioners gonna do anyway. So, because like we tell the people that come in, we just a recommended body, and I think we got a diverse group of people in here that speaks what their mind is and votes like it, then the chairman, then the Board of Commissioners votes, either approves it or denies it, no matter which way we go. So I think it's a good idea, but
Smith?
I think it's been realistically continuing to, try to find people to basically volunteer to sit on this board is just a challenge. I mean, that somebody, and that's realistically looking at it, I mean, we're the chair, or I mean, the seat that we've had a little bit of turnover with, it's, you know, so, yeah, I think that makes perfectly good sense.
would all those contain our seats right now at the end of their terms?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the way I'm saying. Everybody would retain their seat until the end of their term.
So
The
that's
only
something-
change would be Cynthia, instead of being the board appointee, would represent District 3.
Yeah, so in addition, so when I guess if y'all vote first and then the Board of Commissioners votes, in addition to those amendments to the bylaws, we need to also have, the Board of Commissioners appoint Cynthia to the vacant seat rather than the seat she's in now, which will be going away.
Correct.
But do they need to appoint somebody for that seat?
Well, not if we change the bylaws.
No, I mean,
Because
even
you'll be
without,
on this seat.
I know, but even without changing bylaws, there has to be somebody in that seat.
Yeah, that seat's vacant now, so, yeah, if they don't change the bylaws, they'd have to put somebody in.
Because you know how long it took the last time. They had, 3 before Stephanie?
Well, they've had that long this time,
Yeah,
because I made them aware of it early in the process.
I know Stephanie, she turned in her, back September or something?
So, that's my spiel. Can I, if you're willing, and can I carry this forward to the Board of Commissioners as a recommendation from the planning and zoning?
And that will, the chairman will not be able to vote in this
The
deal.
chairperson will mirror the Board of Commissioners, right? The chairperson, which just happens to be me at this point. I would lose my vote, but I would vote in case of a tie.
Which would only
And
happen.
somebody would only happen if somebody's absent with this particular board, and I'm comfortable with that.
And
You know, I mean, I was not opposed to the way it was structured before. I was opposed to people losing, you know, just cutting somebody out and says, you know, you're done, you're not here anymore. I just believe that this is the absolute perfect time to do it, because we do have a vacancy.
I was trying to find a way to phrase this. If you're out for some reason, And
The vice chair
when
would.
you fill in that situation, do you vote?
I think I still vote with him, Mike, yeah, since I'm vice chair.
Right, that's the way I've interpreted it as the charter's written for the, Board of Commissioners, and I think it would be the same here. The losing your vote applies to the person holding the office, not necessarily the person presiding in his absence.
Because I think the Board of Commissioners, I think when Todd's out, I say who's,
Yeah.
Derek fills
Derek.
in.
Derek does vote.
Right.
So this will mirror the Board of Commissioners, exactly.
Do you want that in a motion?
I would,
If someone,
if the board feels like that's appropriate and just, want to move that way forward, that's just my proposal. You don't have to agree with it, or you can vote it down. But I just believe that this is the time to do it, because I don't think it's going away. If we don't do it now, it's coming up again with the Board of Commissioners.
And I
The rest
think
assured.
right now, we're still gonna be short one member, and don't know when we're gonna get another member, at least 60 days out. So I'd say, go for it now.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we you go forward with this to, planning, or the Board of Commissioners, and the Planning and Zoning Commission recommends, a 6-man or 6-person, commission reflecting the composition of the Board of Commissioners.
Can I just add one thing? Okay, if you, as a 6-man, board, or 6-man, and you're in the same situation that someone decides not to be part of the board anymore, and they give in their resignation, and they're down, and you can't find anybody else, does that mean the chairman becomes the voter?
Mm-hmm.
No,
So what happens then if you only continue to have?
they'll have to find somebody, they'll have to appoint somebody.
Right.
But I mean, that's the
Nobody-
same thing now.
No, it's just one fewer person that they have to find. I think I think William said it best, the more, it's already hard to find people who are qualified and willing to serve. It's easier to find 6 than 7. That's what's being accomplished. Plus, I guess, to your
Well, they
point
don't have
about
to
buy-in,
sign.
it's a little easier for people to understand that the Planning Commission and the Board of Commissioners are just alike. They have the same number of members and the same rules apply.
Well, it's kind of like somebody said that if you don't like the way the Board of Commissioners are structured, then you won't like this. So, hey. But anyway, have a motion, do I get a second?
I'll second.
A motion and a second on the floor that, I will be allowed to go to the Board of Commissioners as a recommendation for the P and Z to restructure the Planning and Zoning, Commission from a 7-member board to a 5-member board.
6-member board.
6-member.
Yeah.
I said 5, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've already got the amendments written.
6-member board.
Yeah, we know what it's for.
Okay, but anyway.
I guess the one thing you might want to add, if Mr. Gandy's willing to add to the motion, is with the recommendation that Ms. Fortson be appointed by the Board of Commissioners to fill the seat vacated by Stephanie Hart.
That's crossing all the T's.
Yeah.
Is that okay with you?
Yes, sir.
Second? Yes. Any further comments? All right, Ken?
Yes.
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 Yep.
Yes.
All right, that has been done, so we will take that before the Board of Commissioners, and Ms. Patrick, if you'll make sure that that's on their agenda for the last meeting in this month.
okay,
Because I'm about to come with the
with that,
preliminary plat anyway. I want to be here anyway. I won't set both at the same time. All right, Cynthia, you have a question now?
Yes, and I guess this is Robbie here for the Tracy or attorney over here. When we are approving these preliminary plats, I know we are looking at lot sizes, about boundaries and all this. But my concern is should we look at, just like the situation with lot 24? It has a gas line that goes directly through it. Some person that will purchase that lot, and I know they have to disclose things at close, but what is our duty or for the consumer that this lot is probably not going to sell really anyway? I don't know. Because it has a gas line going through it.
So for things that are not specifically black and white in the subdivision regulations, it would have to be addressed at the rezone level. That's where the Board of Commissioners and you as a recommending body to the Board of Commissioners have broader discretion. After the rezone's done, at the preliminary plat stage, it either meets the requirements and you have to approve it, or it doesn't and you won't approve it. As a matter of fact, in many, if not most places, plats are approved by staff, not by citizen boards, be it a planning commission or a board of commissioners, because there's just no discretion at that level.
So that was something I should have brought up.
So, in other words, what you're saying is we should address that issue on the rezone.
Yes, sir.
On the rezone, put a condition in there that nothing built.
Exactly.
Well, you're objecting that you say that lot 24 should be disallowed.
Right. It should not, it should
And
be.
why is that?
Because what I just said, because of
Because there's
the
a gas line
line.
underneath it.
If who wants to put a house on top of a gas line?
Legally, they can't build nothing within, 150 foot of the gas line?
I don't know what the radius is.
I know it is on the power line.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a distance or if it's just that you can't obstruct the area itself that they might have to dig to get to if there were a leak or something.
And see, we did not know where the lots were gonna be when he was rezoned.
Well, no, you never know where the lots are gonna be. What you may not have known is that there's a pipeline easement across that property.
Right.
Again, I hope that this zoning ordinance that's being drafted and hopefully gets passed will require a lot more information at the rezone stage than the current ordinance does. As the history's been explained to me, and again, I defer to Mr. Scott, because he was here and part of the process, there were a lot of concessions made in the original zoning ordinance just to get zoning in the county.
Just to get it into effect.
Right. Which means you have a zoning ordinance that it's not what a modern zoning ordinance should be, and hopefully the new one is. Hopefully it does pass, and hopefully applicants are required to provide a lot more information at the rezone stage in the future, so you do know those things and can make those conditions.
Right. All right.
Well, you guys just said something. You said that you can't build a house on.
I said
Yeah,
that, but
but-
I can't quote you chapter and verse on that. I thought typically an easement the easement document would, so colonial is colonial, right?
Yeah.
The colonial, somewhere in the real estate records, there's an easement on file where the owner of the property at that time gave Colonial Pipeline an easement, and it spells out what the conditions are. Typically, those include you can't put something on top of it, because we may have to dig that up to get to it.
Well, that's an interesting point, because even though lot 24, it goes right through the middle,
Right.
it touches a lot of the others.
Mhm.
But it goes right through the middle of 24.
I know, but if you got to dig it up, if it touches, my house might be on the edge of where it touches. That's interesting.
Right.
So.
Well, I know.
Well, typically the easement is wider than the pipe itself.
Yeah, I know, we got a power line, the major power line comes from Park, we're gonna know where the line come out to my property. There's a 60-foot, I think it's maybe 150-foot easement from the center of
Right.
the power line, that you cannot put a permanent structure. You set a building on it, just like a portable building, but you can't build a permanent structure
Right.
in that easement. So I figured since it's power line, the gas line is probably close to the same place.
Exactly.
Well,
Any kind of utility easement is the easement is wider than the actual pipe under the ground. Because, you know,
But what
Texas
I'm saying
equipment
is, he's gonna put a house on that lot. So.
Is that legal? I mean, I don't know.
Well, I mean, as long as he said where he's gonna put it. So what is how should we look at the consumers gonna buy it? How many times?
To the extent that the county is involved in all, it would be at the permitting stage, because that's, you know, that's where you measure the setbacks and whatnot. So,
But that's what I'm saying, so many people have bought lots and built their house, and, bought from developers, and a house, all of a sudden, there's sinkholes as big as I don't know what, because there's things underneath that they were not.
well, but that's what they're saying.
Yeah, I know, but I'm
That
just
the
saying,
records
what
don't
is
show.
our-
This one's shown as a matter of the real estate record, so the owner will have, and the lender, more importantly, the lender always requires that they know that, will have title insurance, and that title insurance, so the title is searched, that reveals the record of plats and deeds and easements of record. So then, the title, if there's a house built, now there's a lender and an owner getting title insurance. Title insurance company requires a plat that shows where the house is located, so they can see it's not on top of that easement.
So he may not be able to put that house.
See, he gotta get approval from the
May not be
septic system,
able to.
because what he's talking about putting the house on one part, and the septic system.
That's right, he was saying he thought he could get the house on this side and the septic on the other side,
And
so,
pump it uphill,
yeah.
pump system.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So, should we, like, do some sort of, get the specific language of what this is, the easement grant?
No, that's all private
Yeah.
property rights, so, you know, knowing you're an advocate of small government, that's the last place you need it.
The level of scrutiny that will go through in order for him to be able to build on that is, way above where our charge is at what we have here with that.
Right, I'm looking at it.
Oh, no, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want it for myself or my family, but the level of scrutiny with that pipeline, the way that it is, there's lots of boxes that gotta be checked in order for him to be able to accomplish what he said there this evening.
All right, motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, aye? Have a good evening. I'm going to the ball game.
Ball game.
I'm going to basketball.
Going to it?
The high school game.
Oh,